with the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible. We called him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Siebert. You're on mute, brother.
Hey, sorry, I was on mute. I apologize. Hey, this is Aaron Siebert, lucky to be alive after being hit with a mortar round. This is Combat Vet Vision. This is a place where I really get to talk about my transition and a lot of things that I'm dealing with, and a lot of things that I've dealt with, and a lot of things that I'm helping in the process. Between Warrior Built and the PTSD Foundation is the major components of what I talk about. However, there's all kinds of other nonprofits that are doing some really good stuff, and there's some businesses and some really awesome pieces of equipment that are out there that are doing some really good things. And, I get to talk to my sponsors, supporters, volunteers. I also get to talk to my combat vets to come on here and talk about a couple things that's really awesome. So today I have Kyle Hartfield on deck, and he is ITalkTMS. He does TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is something that I've also participated in. And Kyle, hey, welcome to the show, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks a lot for being on the show, man. It's good to see you. ITalkTMS, man, and you have a show, man. You have a show on YouTube that you put together that really brings out why transcranial magnetic stimulation is so important, and some really cool factors on that. But I know you back from Inland Detox, and that's something that you own too. That's helping our guys that are dealing with any kind of alcoholism getting on some sort of treatment program. And that was a cool start for you. And then we both know Dr. Murphy, who kicked this whole thing off back in the day with the brain treatment centers and doing some incredible things. So give some information about you. You grew up in Southern California, and what got you all into all this stuff?
Grew up in Southern California. I mean, what got me into all of this is struggling with my own self for many years. Diagnosed as a young child, 5th grade, I believe, diagnosed anxiety, depression, ADHD, all of it, put on medication as a young child, and which quickly turned to, drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol were a lot sexier than the pills those doctors were giving me. And in my opinion, in my young brain, they worked a lot better than those pills did. And that's eventually how I had figured out how to balance my brain, how I figured out how to go to sleep at night instead of tossing and turning for hours upon hours upon hours. And I battled with my own addiction, my own shame, for a long time. Went through a treatment center as a young man. I think I was 15 years old when my mom put me in my first rehab. And fast forward, became a businessman, still battling with addiction and all that, but found a rehab who wanted to employ me because I was good at what I did. I had the gift of gab, and they thought that I could benefit people with that gift. Worked for a treatment center for about a year until I found out that they were far from what they said they were. And they ended up killing a couple people, which I wasn't on board with at all. So I left with my first business partner, and we started a treatment center together. We helped some people, built something great. But eventually I went out on my own, and I created Inland Detox. We were 6-bed originally, 6-bed drug and alcohol treatment center. I didn't want to be one of the huge boys on the block with 20, 30, 100 beds. I wanted to keep it small, keep it intimate. And we helped over 1,000 people up at that house, and did a lot of good work. We helped a lot of people at least deal with the addiction. It obviously, there's only so much you can do in that field. And this is something that I learned in my trip through rehab was, if you're not dealing with those root problems, then nothing's changing. But thank God that is actually how I was introduced to TMS. And that's how I did meet Dr. Murphy. in my search to help people, we were looking for something beyond the 6 groups a day, meeting with your therapist once a week, meeting with your psychiatrist once a week. I had a psychologist up there. I mean, we really threw everything we could at addiction at Inland Detox. That was my whole point of owning that place is really just taking everything to it. Anything that we could use to fight that disease, we used, right? Introduced to TMS, and it was like a light bulb. Like, of course, if these things are true and we can help with anxiety, we can help with depression, PTSD, we got a real chance to fight this disease. And that was what was so fascinating to me. Granted, this is before I had even done TMS. This is before I even knew that I needed TMS, right? But it was strictly to help people. And fast forward, I lose my best friend, my very best friend in the entire world, Joe Crilly. I lose him to suicide, and instantly I'm drinking over a bottle of whiskey a day. I'm snorting as much cocaine as I can get my hands on. I am on a rapid death path, and I couldn't get there fast enough. I looked at my wife one night and I told her, I said, "You're lucky he shot himself, because if he didn't, I'd be right there with him." And that's the day I knew I couldn't live that way anymore. Like, there was nothing left in me. I had no more fight, you know. And so I called my good friend, my good friend Dr. Murphy, who graciously said, "Kyle, get your butt down here, and I'm going to treat you." Doc's office is an hour and a half from my house. I don't commute.
Yes,
Inland
it
Detox
is.
is 15 minutes from my house one way. Inland Empire TMS, which was open at the time, was 15 minutes the other way. I don't commute. It's not something I do, but I got in my car every day and I drove that hour and a half to see him, sit there for an hour or for a half an hour, and get back in my car to drive back. You know, um, best thing, best thing I ever did for myself, hands down.
Yeah, and we were fortunate at Warriorville facility that Dr. Murphy had a van that he would
Mhm.
he said, "Hey, you know what? Let's send it up there. Let's give you 7 guys. Let's get them in here every day to do the TMS and actually see how it works." And it's a lot of commitment because
It
you're
is.
sitting in this chair for 20 minutes. It's really what it's doing. It's aligning all your brain waves, but it's really kind of pulling the alpha wave into
Yes.
alignment the way that it's supposed to be aligned. And due to a lot of bad habits, sleep habits, all kinds of different
Mhm.
things, that those waves get out of whack. So when you talk about this TMS, it's a really incredible thing to think about, sitting in a machine that's not medicine. It's directly hitting one area or multiple areas of the brain that needs to be that's designed to hit to improve that alpha wave. On top of that, just not taking any medication for that treatment is such a better improvement. The side effects of that might be a little bit tired because obviously the brain's getting worked, right? Um, but other than that, um, maybe vision a little, but I don't recall that. But it's also very imperative and important while you're doing this to actually make sure that you're getting that blue light in the morning and waking up and sleeping
Mhm.
right, because the sleep habits play a huge part. So as much
Huge.
as and you said it right on the thing. You're treating alcoholism, all this stuff, but until you treat that root issue, you're never gonna find you may not you may not you may just be beating a dead horse. And it's just not a feasible thing if you're not gonna go through some of the steps to improve your own well-being by making sure you're getting that blue light. And that blue light only shows up, I believe, from 7 to 10 or something,
Yeah.
right? Because the
Mhm.
horizontal light that shows up, it builds the melena. So all day long, that 12-hour cycle hits so that when you get tired, You don't want to ignore that tiredness.
Out.
You want to fall asleep. You need to go to sleep.
That's right.
But
Don't miss your window.
Yeah, a lot of times,
Go to sleep.
you know, and I will say in the military, we are programmed to really misalign that, to ignore it, push through it. We got duty, we got responsibilities, we got all this and that. So I really understood that I was really screwing up that process. And I think most military members do. And so I just want to throw that out there, you know, and going along with everything you do. But you are in Marietta. You're doing this TMS, man. You got a TMS booth, or a couple of them. You know, talk about what you got there, and then insurances that are covering this. Talk a little bit about that for civilians as well as the military guys and
so Inland Empire TMS here in Marietta, like you said, we do have two chairs here now. We rocked one for a while, and I just couldn't keep up with the demand of people. So I did go ahead. I bought another one. We're actually at a point where I might be purchasing a third. It's so important to me to be able to meet people where they're at. You know, a lot of people want that first AM appointment so that they can go to get to work. Some people need it later in the day, 5, 6 o'clock, because they're off of work, right? And I really just want to meet as many people as I can where they're at. So we have the two machines here. We also have the EEG machines. I have 2 of those as well. That's where we're able to read 19 points of the brain. So important. And this is where Dr. Murphy really comes into place, is he created this technology that he has coupled the EEG with the TMS. So it's personalized towards every single brain. No one gets the exact same prescription. They're each personalized to what is ailing you, the part of your brain that's causing the depression, anxiety, your sleep, right? PTSD, tinnitus, of all things. I didn't even know that we were treating tinnitus until Doc showed me. He's like, watch this tinnitus score drop. Guy came in with I think he scored like a 253 on the tinnitus scale. After 3 sessions, or after 3 EEGs, which is 15 sessions, he was scoring 0s, 0, 0. Amazing, right?
And addiction.
So
it's even
addiction.
We'll get into that a little bit too. I mean, because
that's
what it did.
Cover.
Yeah,
that's a tough one to cover, and I'm going to cover that one from my personal experience. Because obviously I could tell you about other people on my YouTube channel. There's a couple people that go into their addiction and so on and so forth. But really, I mean, I'm going to tell you what it did for my addiction, right? But here at TMS, like I say, we rock the EEGs. You get one every 5 treatments, so it stays personalized.
And that's a map of the brain. That tells you where the brain is. It tells you where the alpha wave and some of the other waves of the brain. It tells you what really you need
where
to.
Your alpha waves are not, right?
Where they're not.
Where you should have alpha waves, but where you don't. Why you have anxiety, right. Why you have depression, why your brain isn't cohesively talking to itself, causing all the noise, the lack of sleep, the unable to go to sleep, right? All of those things play a part into your daily daily success, right? So insurances, we take just about every insurance here today. The only one that I'm still working on is Medi-Cal. For me personally, I don't run this place for money. I run this place to help people, right? If you have insurance, most likely I can fight to get your insurance to cover. If you have been on medications in the past, SSRIs, antidepressant, anti-anxiety, stuff like that, most likely I'm going to get you covered through insurance. We have a wonderful team here that helps not only assess the situation. I got Dr. Cox. She's my right hand here. She assesses you. We got Jill. She's a nurse practitioner. She'll assess you. We get that information over to your insurance company. We show them why they need to cover your treatment. Insurance companies like TRICARE is actually the best treatment or best insurance coverage to have when receiving TMS. Oddly, I know people are it's like speaking a foreign language when I say that, but it's 100% the truth. TMS or TRICARE authorizes 60 sessions up front. I want 40 of them. We'll give you 40 sessions flat out, 5 days a week, 8 weeks straight. I'll have you tip top. That authorization is good for 1 year. Because I'm only using 40 sessions, that means we have 20 sessions left in case something happens. A lot of the times, and especially with the military boys, okay, a lot of times what I'm seeing is they're going out playing football, riding dirt bikes, banging their head, okay? You bang your head real good, you're going to knock those neurons right back out of form, okay? So we'll bring you back in, tune you right back up. If you've done TMS once, if I've given you the 40 sessions once, next time you probably need 5, 10, maybe 20 to get you back in line. You rarely need another 40 within a year to get tuned up. But TMS is typically authorized on a yearly basis by any insurance policy. The longevity of TMS, what science is saying currently, is lasting about a year. Me personally, I'm not the guy to answer that question. I own 2 TMS chairs. I get TMS when I feel like it. But with the doctors and the professionals that I've spoken to, they all say about a year. I have met a gentleman who did TMS 14 years ago and said he was still fantastic. So it's every brain is different, right? And it goes back to what you were talking about with the light, right? If your behaviors have changed, changing your diet, changing the receiving the sunlight first thing in the morning, exercise, meditation. If you're doing these things on a daily basis, you are going to keep your brain in line. And the longevity of your TMS benefits will last a hell of a lot longer than if you go back out and say start drinking again. Smoking weed, right? Weed's legal in California now. A lot of people are just going right back out and smoking weed. And I'm like, hey man, you're going to affect your peaks. That's all you're going to do. You're actually slowing your brain down, and you're going to train your brain to run slower than what you naturally would. So there's a ton of things that go into it, right? Maintaining the longevity of TMS is of the utmost importance. Now,
Yeah, and each session is like 20 minutes, correct? And like you said,
20
40
to
sessions,
30 minutes.
20 to 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't mind behind me. This is a Mancoon. It's just getting up. It's been hanging out there. It's, you know, some people have elves on the shelves. I have a cat guarding flags.
There you go.
Mancoon.
Yeah, no, every session. So when you start off, typically the first week, 2 weeks, maybe 35. It depends upon your prescription, where your brain is at, right, on your EEG. On average, you're in that chair 30 minutes a day. You're in, you're out, you come in, you sit down. We put beautiful scenery on the TV. It's literally 30 minutes of meditation is what you're doing.
It is. And there, you know, there's a clicking noise that the magnetic winding up and slapping and snapping and snapping, but it's a very relaxing, methodical sound. So I don't
Painless.
it's not
painless is the biggest
painless.
Thing. Me personally, I was deathly afraid of doing TMS, and I had Inland Empire TMS. We were treating people. I was still deathly afraid of doing TMS. Is it going to change me? Is it going to wipe away my memories? Am I going to be a different person? Am I going to grow a third arm? You know, all of those thoughts are going through my mind. The only regret I have is not doing it sooner. In my opinion, don't wait until you're in the worst shape of your life to tune up your brain, right? We go to the gym, we exercise, we work out our normal muscles. This is the strongest muscle we have. Why aren't we utilizing it to its fullest capabilities?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Hey, we'll come right back. We're gonna take a quick break. I got the PSA from the VA. And Ryan's got that wound up, so we'll be back if he's got it going.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
You're back on mute.
Man, I've been really slacking tonight. Hey, we're back on Combat Vet Vision with Kyle Hartfield. He's got his show on YouTube, ITalkTMS, and we've been talking this whole TMS thing. And I think one of the biggest things that people wonder, like, hey, if I'm getting all this light, if I'm doing all these things, if I'm taking care and I'm meditating, then I probably don't need TMS. And that may be true, but it's such an important thing. If you're also working out, eating healthy, there's a lot of medications you're not going to need too, overall, and so you can incorporate a lot of these things in your life, but this electromagnetic realignment is a whole cool Star Trek-y thing, man. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of it out there. There's pain. There's a pain. There's some pain reduction through the same alpha wave kind of thing, alpha stem. There's a whole bunch of things. I mean, I went into a different machine, the one that brought you to your Delta sleep, and this is non-medical, just from sound and vibration. So there's so much work and effort being put into these electronic devices that are actually FDA approved and getting a whole bunch of other, approvals as well, after they go through these studies. Now, you talked about addiction, you talked about these, some of those things may have not been studied but that's the effect it had on you. And that's the effect that it's going to have on others in some other aspects. And it may even affect their lives in ways that they come back and tell you, and you're like, well, I had no idea that it might have done that. But it may have not ever been studied, but it doesn't mean it's not working.
I've seen it time and time again here. People come in, and I've called Murphy on several occasions, like, hey, what are we doing with this one? He's like, Kyle, treat it. Watch what happens. A woman with dystonia. I had never even heard of dystonia. Okay. Severe cramping in all ligaments of her body. She couldn't sleep through the night because her body would cramp. Sleeping through the night, no cramp. And she was done. I'm blown away. Long COVID. Kid couldn't walk to the door. An active child, 15 years old, could not walk to the door without stopping to catch his breath. And I'm like, Doc, we're treating long COVID? He's like, Kyle, watch. Okay. Kid rides his bike 6 miles a day, loving life, back to life. It's insane.
And TBIs, we didn't focus on that too much. I know you kind of hit it a little bit by playing football and all this and that, but TBIs are huge. Let's talk about that for a while.
Well, Doc actually just had a paper published on TBI, concussions, and things of that nature. I'm not the guy for this one, and I'm not even going to pretend that I am. I've read the paper, but at the end of the day, this is something that Doc, and for what I can say is, when I went in and I did my first EEG, Doc looked at me like, Kyle, how many concussions have you had? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Haven't had a concussion in a long time. Now, granted, I'm a boy, right? I'm full boy, dirt bikes. I rolled my Can-Am too many times, right? How you're seeing this on this piece of paper is beyond me. But no, I did suffer several concussions, and he saw it. He saw it, and he said, watch how this changes as you go through this treatment. And sure enough, there's several lines that if you watch, they change. Same, and it goes. We touched on this a little bit with the alcoholism. He showed me. So I was probably 12 sessions in to my treatment. Okay. And I was like, I should probably tell the doc what I'm drinking, right? What I'm doing. And I said, hey, doc, I got to tell you, man, I'm drinking a bottle of whiskey a day. And he's like, Kyle, I know. I can see it right here on your charts. And he shows me exactly where it's reading on my EEG and how he can see it. And I'm like, oh, wow, you know. And he said, I'm not going to tell you to stop drinking, Kyle. What I'm going to tell you, though, is you need to be careful because one day your brain is going to tell you you can't do this anymore. And my addict ass says, hey, I can keep drinking. He didn't tell me I had to stop. So what I tell myself is I took his advice, right? And I kept drinking. And one day, my brain told me I had to stop. I poured a glass of whiskey, and it was not a large glass of whiskey by any means. And I drank it. It was a Saturday, so I didn't have to work. I didn't have to really do anything. So it was early morning. I drank it, and instantly I knew it was wrong. I knew, not wrong as in like ethically wrong, but just wrong inside of my body. And to fix it, I poured myself another one. Drank that one, and instantly I was on the floor. I was drunker than I've ever been. Sick as a dog. About 2 hours later, I was hungover. Trying to sleep it off, just gross. Like this isn't right. The next day, I tested that theory with tequila because I'm a whiskey drinker, and maybe it was just the whiskey that day. Tried it with tequila, and I got the same exact effect. The following day, I had one beer to detox myself, and this is not medical advice or recommendations for anybody. I had one beer, and that was the last beer I've ever had. That was 500 plus days ago. I've also quit smoking weed, which is something I have done my entire life. We were looking last night. I downloaded the trackers, right, to track my days. And yesterday I was 250 days free of weed. Never in my life have I gone 250 days without marijuana. And I looked at my wife, and she was like, baby, is that really the longest you've ever gone? And I was like, since I think I'm 12, you know? And it's not, and this goes to what we kind of touched on earlier, is joy. I have a joy in my life today. And it's not so much what I do, or I mean, yes, obviously I love what I do. I love helping other people, but there's a joy in my life that a hole in my heart, right? That I'm trying to fill with these drugs, these alcohol, all this stuff that I obviously never achieved. But today I have that joy. And there's a line, F8, F7 on the EEG that you can see. You can totally see. Murphy shows me, and he's like, no, if that line is flat, you have no joy in your life. Once you get some peak on that, the difference in life is tremendous. I do call TMS my cheat code. I do believe that I have cheated at this thing called life because I found TMS, and there's nothing better. I've taken the meds. I've been told I had the chemical imbalance, right? Told that since I was in 5th grade. My neurons weren't firing properly. My brain wasn't talking to itself properly. And today I have joy. You know, things that should make me happy do make me happy. Things that should make me cry do make me cry. Before I put a Kodak commercial on the TV, I'm bawling like a baby. There's no reason I'm bawling like a baby. But no, my emotions are all over the place, right? So I'm crying at the stupidest things that I should never be crying at. But now it's all, I'm balanced out. I'm balanced out. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And I do everything in my day is to protect my peaks. to protect my brain. I wake up I sleep like a baby. 9:30 at night, you could set your alarm to it. I'm out. It don't matter. I'm going to sleep. I could be having a party in my house. There could be a circus next door. I'm sleeping. And 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 to 4:30 in the morning, I will naturally wake up. I don't use an alarm. I haven't used an alarm in years. Naturally wake up, bing, time to go. I installed a gym in my house because I don't want to go to the gym. I just want to walk into my little gym right there. I work out for an hour, hour and a half. I ride my bike 8 to 10 miles a day. And I live a healthy lifestyle today. But TMS was the full foundation to all of this. It was my cheat code to life.
Yeah, Kyle, I know you talked about it real short, but when it comes to alcohol and and quitting alcohol after being an alcoholic for so long, that can kill you if you do it wrong.
Yes.
However,
I had to say it because
you had to say it.
Own a detox,
but obviously this TMS is pulling brainwaves into patterns that are way more healthy to begin with, and even like starting off in the gym, you start off real kind of casual, and you work your way up to a heavier dose. And so even in the TMS situation, you started off kind of slow, and then the brain can handle more and handle more. But it said, hey man, if we're going to handle this more, it probably said we don't need the alcohol anymore because we're starting to get the stimulation that we needed, the function that we needed. And so it was already detoxing you in a way that was probably unlikely to occur in a natural setting anyway, because it's not working with the waves. So, just thinking about this, but that's super dangerous. So just keep that in mind. That's the disclaimer.
Everybody, literally, like that. You're not supposed to do that, right? Especially the amounts I was drinking. You're not supposed to do that. My wife, I own a detox. My wife had trash bags and yada yada yada, vitamins and Gatorades ready for me. He's gonna be sick. He's gonna be, he's gonna go through DTs, all those things, which I should have. With the grace of God, I said a prayer one night. I said, Lord, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And like I said, I had one beer that day, and that was it for me. I knew I had to stop. I couldn't live that life anymore, right? And thank God, TMS and the power of Him, man. I made it through 500 plus days. Life has never been better, and I will never go back to that stuff.
Well, that's good, man. It's absolutely amazing, the story that you have, and the way that you're talking about yourself, to be able to open up, and obviously going through all these meetings and helping others detox, and has helped you be able to tell your story on a way that's relatable to a lot of other people. It might be not relatable because not everybody has heard of TMS and they're not in it. However, I want you to be able to tell people, if they want to get involved, where they can do it, any final words, and how they can get a hold of you. And I will say, if they want to get a hold of you, they can definitely do it through me. You can always refer back to this podcast, and you can get his information that way too. But he's going to give it to you right now too. And any last words you want to say or anything like that, man, let's send it out there.
On the last words first, I just would want to share the most important message is if you're struggling, there's help. Suicidal, there's a better way. Contact me. I will personally help you. There's nonprofits that I work with today that their whole mission is to help people get TMS. If it's financial, location, whatever it is, there's ways that we are going to help people get TMS. Here at Inland Empire TMS, I scholarship people. If you're struggling, call me. I'm not going to give my phone number here, but Kyle at ITalkTMS.com. Kyle at Inland Empire TMS.com. Both of those go straight to my phone. I always will answer you. If you are struggling, I am here to help. If you're somewhere in the world where you don't think you can get TMS, I promise I will personally help you find a TMS clinic to get you help, without a doubt. It doesn't matter the time of day. I care about your life. If you don't think anybody else does, I care about it. And I know that a lot of times we feel that there's not a way out, but there is. There really is. And I found it, and I am here to share it with everybody. That is why we created ITalkTMS on YouTube. It's simple, one word, ITalkTMS. I got 70 something videos. I'm going to release a video every Thursday, 8 o'clock in the morning. There will be a new video coming out. Doctors nationwide have done podcasts with me to answer simple questions. What is TMS? Can TMS help with anxiety, and a laundry list of other questions, man? I know I don't want to call it the Holy Grail, but to me, that's what TMS is. Again, I can't say it enough. It was the cheat code to my life, and I love my life today. I'm a very blessed man. You still with me? Did I lose you?
Wow.
There you are.
Well said, Kyle, and thanks a lot, man. You've been a resource for me when I've had to call you up and ask you, hey, yeah, can you hear me? You got me?
I got you.
No, cool. Yeah, I was here, but I wasn't apparently. News. I've had to call you up and ask you, hey, do you have a bed for one of these guys? Should they be willing to take it? What routes might they have to go? There's a lot of really cool things, and I appreciate you, man.
I can still do that as well. I can totally still do that too.
Yeah. No, you don't have to.
I'm still the guy. I can still pull many strings to get you in a bed. If that's the route we have to go, I'm willing to do anything to help. The last thing someone should do is be taking their own life. There's better ways. I know it might be dark, but no, we can fight through this, and I'll fight with you.
And definitely, and that's something that we need to do. Is get somebody that if TMS isn't the route for you, or it's going to be the route for you, but maybe later on get you through the 30-day detox, get you to Camp Hope immediately after that. And that's going to put you at a 10-month window, and then get you back into your life, and then get your brain tuned up after that. So there's some really cool options there. So much respect and appreciation for everything you're doing, brother. And
thank you, Chief.
Thanks for reaching out to me, man. You reached out to me, and that was a cool thing, man. It's good to get reacquainted with you and see that you're doing the TMS right in our backyard in Southern California, right Lake Elsinore, the inland valley, the whole inland area. He's planning on possibly opening up some more facilities, not just beds, but facilities. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But hey, that's all I got for this show. Much appreciation for everything. Hey, this is Combat Vet Vision. This is a place where a lot of different things get tossed around. A lot of different lives, a lot of different situations, whatever it might be. But until next time, this is Aaron Siebert signing off. Strength and honor out.